Tonight, with a healthy, growing economy, with more Americans going back to work, with our nation an active force for good in the world, the state of our union is confident and strong.
Good morning. President Bush says America needs to save Social Security and stand tall in Iraq. Now he's hitting the road to sell his second-term agenda today, Thursday, February 3rd, 2005.
From NBC News, this is Today with Katie Couric and Matt Lauer, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
And good morning. Welcome to Today on a Thursday morning. I'm Matt Lauer.
And I'm Katie Couric. President Bush spoke for 53 minutes last night. The centerpiece of his speech is plan to massively reform Social Security. But the most emotional moment of the night came when the president introduced the parents of a Marine killed in Iraq. With her son's dog tags in her hand, the young man's mother hugged an Iraqi human rights activist. It was a very moving moment for many people, including the president. We'll have much more in just a moment.
And then, Katie, a surprising question potential jurors are being asked in the Michael Jackson criminal case. And a Today exclusive, a jailhouse interview with Dr. Jeffrey McDonald, convicted of murdering his wife and young daughters 35 years ago. His case led to a best-selling book, Fatal Vision, as well as a TV movie. Now he says new evidence proves he's innocent.
Also ahead, why one Chicago neighborhood is very upset over the latest American Girl doll. Plus, she's hired. Martha Stewart has a job waiting for her when she gets out of prison. We'll tell you all about that.
And today's the finale of our 2 days of Tina Spectacular. This morning, Tina Turner performing some of her greatest hits right in our studio. But first, let's start things over at the news desk. And for that, we turn to Ann Curry. Ann, good morning.
Matt and Katie, good morning. Good morning, everybody. President Bush hits the road today trying to win public support for the ideas he spelled out in last night's State of the Union address. NBC's Norah O'Donnell is at the White House this morning with more on this. Norah, good morning.
Good morning, Ann. Well, that's right. Today, the president is going to try and capitalize on some of the momentum from last night, launching a 5-state campaign-style blitz throughout the nation in order to sell his plan directly to the American people.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Embarking on his second term with a bold new agenda, the president challenged Congress to strengthen and solve Social Security.
The system, however, on its current path is headed toward bankruptcy.
But underscoring the big divide, Republicans stood and cheered, and Democrats yelled no. But for the first time, the president offered some details. Personal retirement accounts would be voluntary and phased in over time. No one over 55 would see benefit cuts.
We must guarantee there is no change for those now retired or nearing retirement.
Emboldened by his re-election, the president urged Congress to liberalize the nation's immigration laws, to limit lawsuits, to simplify taxes, and limit federal spending. On Iraq, he offered no hint of a timetable for U.S. troop withdrawal.
We will succeed because the Iraqi people value their own liberty, as they showed the world last Sunday.
The evening's most poignant moment after the president recognized the parents of a Marine killed in Iraq. There was a heartfelt embrace between the soldier's mother and an Iraqi voter, and it brought tears to lawmakers, and the president was clearly moved.
Now, on the Middle East, the president boldly said he believes that peace is within reach for the Israelis and the Palestinians. He warned Iran to end its support of terror and promised Iranians seeking liberty that the U.S. will stand with them. Ann?
Norah O'Donnell this morning. Thank you, Norah. Top Democrats reacted sharply to the president's address last night. In the Democratic response, Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid said the president's plan on Social Security reform is, quote, more like Social Security roulette. And House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi challenged the president to issue a clear plan for withdrawing U.S. troops from Iraq. In northern Iraq, 12 Iraqi army soldiers were killed in an ambush on Wednesday in the deadliest attack since Sunday's elections. 2 U.S. Marines were killed in fighting west of Baghdad. Also on Wednesday, Marines held a memorial service in western Iraq for the 30 Marines and 1 sailor killed in a helicopter crash last week. Today, Pope John Paul II is said to be responding to treatment in a hospital in Rome, and NBC's Campbell Brown is in Rome this morning with more on this story. Campbell, good morning.
Good morning, Ann. Vatican officials say the Pope could spend another week in the hospital, but that his fever's down, he had a restful night, and his condition is improving. On the streets of Rome, people bought bouquets of yellow and white flowers, the Vatican colors, and waited for any new word on the Pope's health. Father Thomas Williams is an American teaching theology here.
There is a great feeling of love for this man who's now elderly and infirm, but who has been such a figure for the church.
The Pope's last public appearance was Sunday. He entered the hospital Tuesday, suffering from the flu and having trouble breathing. Despite the Vatican's insistence, there's no cause for alarm. The Pope's age and frailty make any illness serious. Doctors warn the danger is he could develop pneumonia, and they're watching him closely. Around the world, people gathered to pray for his health. In Calcutta today, the nuns of Mother Teresa's order held a special mass. In Krakow, Poland, at the church where the Pope served as a young priest, a candlelight... Say the Pope will try to do his regular Sunday blessing this weekend, but it would be from his bed here at the hospital. And
all right, Campbell Brown. Thank you, Campbell. A 9-year-old Virginia boy is recovering this morning in a California hospital following surgery to remove most of a brain tumor. David Dingham Grover drew national attention when he nicknamed the tumor Frank, and his mother raised money for the surgery by selling Frank Must Die bumper stickers on the internet. Well, David's mother has high praise for the doctor.
He has saved my son's life, and because of him, I have my son.
Doctors say the surgery went well, and David may get out of the hospital as early as today. It is now 7:06. Turning back now to Matt, Katie, Nell. Always love to see that.
Yeah, end on good news. That's true. Yeah.
So hard to watch, too.
Yeah.
So upsetting to see sick children, but glad he's doing well. Hi, Al.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
Good, good. And we've got a slow-moving system that's been plaguing the south. It continues now. It moves east, bringing snow to Virginia, West Virginia, the mountains there, also the Carolinas. We're also looking at some heavier rain working its way from Charleston on up to Raleigh with about 3/4 of an inch to an inch of rain. We're looking at sunshine in the Pacific Northwest, 71 in Los Angeles today. Fog continues in the midsection of the country. Sunshine in the northeast, although there may be some showers eastern end of Long Island on into Boston, and expect sunny skies down into Texas. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods. Weather, Matt.
All right, Al, thanks very much. On Close Up this morning, the President's State of the Union address. Tim Russert is NBC's Washington bureau chief and, of course, moderator of Meet the Press. Hey, Tim, good morning to you.
Morning, Matt.
Let's start generally first and talk about the President's demeanor and confidence as compared to years past.
Amazingly calm, and Democrats even acknowledge that. Someone who is taking great confidence in being reelected and showed it last night.
Let's talk about Social Security reform. He jumped right into that last night. Let me play you a portion of the speech. We'll talk on the other side.
It should not be a small matter to the United States Congress.
Tim, half the room stood, half the room sat. Not surprising which half sat. The Democrats' clear message, we're not moving on this?
Absolutely. There are 45 Democrats in the U.S. Senate, Matt, and the Democratic leadership said all are against the personal private accounts. The president's going to Republican states that have Democratic senators today. He'll be greeted by television and radio commercials paid for by the Democrats, even some protests. This is a big battle. Democrats believe Social Security is their issue, and they're not about to compromise.
And 6 of the 7 Democratic senators in the states you just mentioned he's going to visit have said they're unalterably opposed to these personal investment accounts. How about earlier in the speech where he talked about Social Security becoming insolvent in 2042, and there was an audible grumble from the Democrats? It sounded like for a second we were in British Parliament. It was very unusual.
They yelled out no. There's a real disagreement about the facts, about the future of Social Security.
Made by U.S. servicemen and women.
Leaders are picking through the wreckage today of that corporate jet that crashed in New Jersey Wednesday, skidding off the runway, across the highway, and smack into a warehouse. NBC's Tom Costello is at Teterboro Airport with more on the story. Tom, good morning.
Katie, good morning to you. Investigators have been walking the runway and interviewing witnesses to yesterday's crash. Behind me, you can see they have put a black tarp over the wreckage because they don't want it to serve as a distraction to the people driving down this road. 20 people injured in total yesterday, and the cause of this accident remains a mystery. Investigators have already
We drink coffee, mainly watch sports. During baseball season.
Be back in a moment with a man who thought he was saying goodbye to his own family. NBC Nightly.